Heading to Las Vegas to catch the action at Allegiant Stadium? Skip the traffic and the sky-high room rates of the Strip. Book your stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. The South Point is located just 7 miles away from the stadium, and it's a quick trip up the freeway, making it an affordable rideshare or taxi ride. And don't worry about getting here when you land in Vegas. We offer a convenient airport shuttle to get your getaway off to a stress-free start. Shuttles are also available on Raider game days for a small fee. So whether you're rooting for your team or seeing your favorite band in concert at Allegiant Stadium, South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa is your ticket to all the excitement. Are you ready to lock in your bets and cash in on the games this weekend? Get weekly football winners from Alex White, Chris Andrews, and Vinny Malulo.
I did take the dog 3.5.
I'm going to stay with the culture. That's definitely going to be one of my plays.
If the Bears have turned the corner, they have to take care of business in this game.
Yes.
Tune in for behind-the-book perspectives you won't find anywhere else.
If you're looking to bet the under, you're going to get a better number.
The wise guys are certainly not going to play the favorites.
I know if it hits 7, don't blink. Maybe that's what bettors are waiting for.
Every NFL matchup, every college game that matters, the spreads, the stats, and the smart money plays.
It's your way to bet against both teams.
Get your winning edge with Football Frenzy, streaming on YouTube every Friday at noon Pacific.
Looking to bet smarter? Get sports betting insight and winning picks straight from the South Point Hotel and Casino.
I think we're going to get goals from both sides here. Give me over 5.5.
That is also one of my favorite plays of the weekend is the Colts -3 on the road.
So you're getting plus 130 here.
I mean, how can you go against Tusky?
Exactly.
Join Sports by the Book at 10 a.m. Pacific and bet your winning edge.
Happy Thanksgiving week, everybody, and Rivalry Week. And Monday, it's going to be a great one here on Sports by the Book. We are live from the South Point Hotel and Casino. Couple notes at the top of the show. No show for us Thursday, but we will be back on Friday for 2 full hours of Football Frenzy, as always. It's a huge weekend in the football world. As I mentioned, Rivalry Week for college football. Things are shaping up. We have one team eliminated in the NFL, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, a ton of college basketball on the board. Couple games already kicked off, and we have a tournament here in Las Vegas. So we're definitely going to get to those, and one of them already tipped off. So we'll try and hit all of that, give you some updated lines. And, of course, we have one more NFL game tonight on this Monday. Looking forward to that one. The Panthers and the Niners, and a ton of hockey. So let's get right to it. I'm Alex White alongside Ryan McCormick. We'll be with you for the next hour. And in 30 minutes, our very own Chris Andrews, Sportsbook Director here at the South Point, will join us. He'll break down his thoughts on the weekend that was. Ryan, what did you think overall? How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was a good Saturday of college football. Managed to take Charlotte plus the points against Georgia and laid the wood with Notre Dame against Syracuse. So 2 pretty easy winners there. Solid Saturday, but was a frustrating start of the Sunday yesterday. I did end up taking the Mitchell Tinsley anytime touchdown, getting it at 5-1. I also took Kenneth Gainwell to get an anytime touchdown in the Bears-Steelers game. And I'm not sure if you were watching that one, but he did have 2. They went for it on the 4th and 1. They did a fake tush push, and he ended up getting tackled at the 1. They originally called it a touchdown, ruled him down at the 1. And then later in the game in the 4th quarter, he catches a ball, takes it in the end zone, and DK Metcalf gets called for a hold. So 2 touchdowns for Kenneth Gainwell get taken off the board. But my Bears did end up covering the spread, so did get the winner there on one of the picks on Friday. The Vikings did not. That game was a lot worse. But anyway, just the NFL as a whole, favorites went 9-4 straight up, but 4-9 against the spread, and totals were also 4-9. So 9 unders. And if you had the under, or if you had the over in the Browns-Raiders game yesterday, I'm sorry.
Yes. I had the under, and it looked like I was a loser right off the bat, but ended up staying under, luckily. Overall, though, you brought up the Steelers and the Bears game. That time frame was pretty wild. We had a couple overtime games, the Jags and the Cardinals, and then the Chiefs and the Colts. That was a tough one. If you had the Chiefs, if you had the Colts, you're pretty happy that you managed to cover by the hook.
Yeah, well, that one, if you're a Colts fan, you're pretty frustrated. The Colts should have won that game and kind of folded in the fourth quarter. Daniel Jones couldn't do anything. Could hardly move the ball in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs ended up coming back. And then the other game that went to overtime was in Detroit. The Giants blow another double-digit lead in the fourth quarter on the road. They're 5th this year. And Jameis Winston looks like an NFL tight end, not necessarily an NFL quarterback.
He looked better than when you saw him in person, right?
Yeah. I was kind of talking with some of the guys that I went out there with, and maybe first week head coach, it was just vanilla, setting the foundation against the Packers. And then this past week was the week that we got no fear, just letting the offense completely unleashed. And they almost ended up pulling off the upset, but they ended up firing their defensive coordinator yesterday. Wasn't the only firing in the NFL. The Raiders ended up moving on from Chip Kelly, so a new offensive coordinator for the rest of the season. So yeah, ultimately not good for the DC of the Giants and the OC of the Raiders.
I think everybody saw that coming with the Las Vegas Raiders. It was not working out offensively. Feel bad for him a little bit because he did not have Brock Bowers for a big chunk of the year so far, but somebody had to ultimately take the fall when they have 2 wins on the season. Let's take a look at the National Football League playoff picture because it is getting very interesting and it's kind of fun, right? We're used to the same teams being at the very top, but right now it is the Patriots at 10-2 for the AFC side and the Rams, who we all knew they were a good team. They did give the Eagles a very tough battle in the playoffs, and then the Eagles went on to, of course, beat the Commanders pretty easily and then do what they did to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So it's not too surprising seeing the Rams at the top of the NFC, but the Patriots, Broncos, Colts, and then the Ravens. That one's interesting too after the start that they had.
Going into the late 2000s.
Are ahead in their division. Of course, they have not played the Steelers yet, but they are 2-0 right now in division play, where the Steelers are 2-1. So overall thoughts so far with the playoff picture and what we're seeing in the 2025-26 season?
I mean, on Friday's Football Frenzy, I'd kind of told you guys that the Buccaneers did not need to win last night, and they really didn't even look competitive against that Rams team. They're really just focused on winning that division. They've got 2 matchups coming up with the Panthers towards the end of the year, and that's going to be ultimately what decides the division, gets them home playoff game, and a chance to go into the divisional round. But yeah, the Rams absolutely look like the best team in the league right now. Chris Andrews had mentioned that he moved down to 4-1 and still took a substantial bet on the Rams to end up winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I was telling Tiff last night, this team, granted it was Aaron Donald's jersey retirement and all that kind of stuff goes in the Rams Hall of Fame. But the Rams have a little added cherry on top with the fact that if they get to the Super Bowl, they can win a Super Bowl in their rival's building. So just to keep that in mind, that was kind of a thing that I was like, oh, yeah, maybe the Rams are going to do it, just to kind of stick it to the Niner fans that take over SoFi and make it Levi's South. I think the Rams players want to take over Levi's. It won't ever be SoFi North just because Rams fans don't necessarily exist or compare to Niners fans. But for the players aspect, I do think a little bit more of a hunger there.
Let's add to that, Ryan. How about that for Matthew Stafford's legacy there? Win one in your own, right, when they were hosting at SoFi, and then if they were to win one at the Niners. So that is pretty wild there. It's funny because we've talked a lot about how that trade really benefited both sides with Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff. Well, if they end up winning 2 before the Lions get to the Super Bowl, it's going to look a lot more lopsided than we thought.
Well, the fact that the Rams won that Super Bowl, went through a mini rebuild, and are now back to being Super Bowl favorites. So it's a testament to Matthew Stafford, to Sean McVay, and their really ownership and how much they want to stay competitive. And there's a grand scheme of Los Angeles, but the Rams dominant.
Well, speaking of the Niners, let's go ahead and turn the page. We'll come back to this when we have Chris Andrews joining us. And then, of course, we will recap and look over college football and what had happened. Not a lot of changes. And I was pretty surprised to see my top 10 not move. But then I remembered a lot of teams played some vanilla and cupcake teams this weekend. So wasn't really expecting to have a lot of changes there. Big weekend ahead, though. I mean, no conference title games are set yet, the matchups. A lot of win and ins, but a lot could still happen this weekend. But looking ahead to tonight's game here at the South Point, the Niners 7.5, total 49.5. And we talked to Dwayne Colucci last week, and he said it was very lopsided. A lot of San Francisco 49ers money already, and now we're seeing that because it's at 7.5. And I'm curious, Chris's thoughts on when we're going to get the buyback, if we're going to get the buyback. Yeah. What are your overall thoughts? Is this enough points to take here with the Panthers?
The Panthers have been very feisty this year, and they've been a good team to back. They've been good against the spread off a loss, but they are coming off of a win, so that doesn't really count. We did want your guys' thoughts, our viewers' thoughts, taking plus prices in tonight's Monday Night Football game. Total touchdowns by the Panthers, you need 3, getting plus 140. Total touchdowns by the Niners, you'll need 4, getting plus 105. Shortest touchdown in the game, over 1.5 yards, so from 2-yard line and out, plus 125. And the Panthers to score first in this game, plus 130, which I think is going to be where I go. Chance to win the coin toss, probably defer. If they lose the coin toss, the Niners are most likely to defer. They'll get the ball first. And that'll probably end up being the best price you also get for the Niners. I do think this is a Niners game. I'm wearing my George Kittle jersey, the people's tight end. So his receiving yards is set at 56.5 here at the South Point tonight, getting the minus 110 both ways. I will be taking the over. He is Brock Purdy's favorite target. He has caught 19 consecutive receptions in the last 3 games. And Brock Purdy coming back last week, 6 for 6 for 60-some yards. Was the leading receiver for the Niners last week. So I'm thinking it's going to be right back to it. And it is a revenge game for Christian McCaffrey. But I do think in the passing game, Brock Purdy's going to look to George Kittle here.
Very good. And yes, please jump in with the poll and give us your thoughts. Shout out to everybody who did vote on Friday because they had 2 winners. We gave some dogs. Which one do you like? And the majority picked Pittsburgh against Georgia Tech, catching the points, and majority picked the Falcons, catching the points. Both of them won outright. So those are pretty big.
Chat's been great the last couple of weeks.
They really have. Yeah. So let us know. But I'm with you, Ryan. I think that's a good bet regardless, not just the plus price Panthers to score first. I mean, they've really been having this success with their run game because right now they are 9th in rushing yards and 11th in rushing percentage. They're 27th in passing. They're also 28th in points per game. So if they're going to have a scripted first drive, be able to find some success running the ball, which the Niners are pretty middle of the pack, both run and pass defense. So I do think they could find some success early on, but then I think the Niners will be able to make some adjustments and slow down their run game for sure. But it should be a good one here. The Niners, I'm curious what you think because you thought yesterday how important that game was to the Rams. Well, now how important does that make this game for San Francisco? On the other side of that, Tampa Bay lost yesterday. So it also kind of makes this an important game for Carolina too.
Yeah, this is absolutely an important game for both sides. The Niners are looking at a wild card position right now because the Rams and Seahawks are both in front of them in their division, and the Panthers have the Bucks in front of them in their division. So both teams have to catch up and are currently looking at a wild card position. So in order to stay there, you got to win games. So yeah, it absolutely important for both teams. That's kind of what's spooking me off. Laying the 7.5 with the Niners, but I do ultimately end up think that they will win this game.
It's tricky. I think that number is correct. I really don't see a whole lot of value going one way or the other. And usually we're trying to find reasons to take a lot of points like this in the NFL. Did not work out this weekend, Ryan. All of those double-digit favorites, really none of them covered, right?
Yeah, no. The big favorites did not cover. The only near touchdown favorite to cover was the Rams and the Packers. Those are the only teams. Packers were 6.5. The Rams were 9. We also, I mentioned this reverse teaser card the last couple of weeks. only 5 winning legs, 4 of which were yesterday. So Thursday, the Texans minus the 1.5. Yesterday, the Packers minus the 14.5. Browns minus the 4.5. Falcons minus the 5.5. And the Rams minus 14.5. So if you manage to find those 5 for 5, 250 to 1. Looking for 6 for 6 tonight, which is 750 to 1. You'll need the Niners minus 14.5 or the Panthers to win outright because you're only getting a half.
Let's take a look at the anytime touchdown market for tonight. I am curious. I believe you pointed out there was some differences, right, in price. So if you are shopping around and you like certain players, you know where to go for those.
Yeah. What was do you remember the player I mentioned?
I was thinking it was CMC, but is that not right?
CMC was going into the weekend, he was a $4 favorite to score a touchdown. On DraftKings, he's around 380 now. Yeah, so plus 350. Was it? Oh, it was a
Purdy.
Quarterback prop. Yeah.
It was Brock Purdy. Okay, so the anytime touchdown, nothing really crazy, right? Number-wise, kind of the same price everywhere.
Best prices are on FanDuel, if you're able to bet over there. I'm looking at George Kittle. I am tempted by Jake Tonges at 11 to 1 over on DraftKings. In week 1, when we had Brock Purdy, when we had essentially a healthy 49ers roster, both George Kittle and Jake Tonges found the end zone in that game against Seattle, who we've seen is one of the best defenses in the league. So I do think there will be a lot of love for the tight ends tonight on the Niners side.
I like that. There's a lot of value there, 11 to 1 down the board if you're looking to sprinkle a little bit. So I'm with you on that one. Getting a double-digit anytime touchdown price there. Do you want to go to the quarterback props?
Yeah. We can look at we'll look at Purdy's. Where was it? It was his passing touchdowns. So looking at Brock Purdy's passing touchdowns on DraftKings, you have to lay $2 to get for him to throw 2 touchdown passes. Here at the South Point, you only have to lay minus 165. Yes, you're still laying a price, but you're laying 35 less cents for 2 touchdowns, which ultimately, grand scheme, is big value. So do you think the Niners are going to win tonight? Do you think it's going to be a big night, or not necessarily a big night, but similar to last week against the Cardinals? Brock Purdy over that 1.5 at minus 165, I think is good.
I like that, especially talking about CMC and him being so important in the passing attack too, not just in the run game. So could get him in the end zone in that way, right? And then that helps your over 1.5. So that's good. 35-cent difference, or pretty big difference there.
Yeah.
That's it for me for this game. I really don't have, I would like to take a few flyers, including the Panthers scoring first. And then down the board there at Jake Tonges at 11 to 1, but nothing besides that. I guess we could try and cook up a same game teaser with the total and getting the Niners down a little bit, but I didn't think there was anything that really jumped out for tonight's game. Anything else for you that we missed on?
Not necessarily that we missed. I do like George Kittle over his receiving yards. I will end up taking that Brock Purdy minus the 165 here at the South Point. And
can you throw that together with anything? I don't know if that was one of the parlayable pieces. Okay.
Yeah, no.
But still, not a bad price there.
So yeah, those are the things I like tonight. So.
Okay, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to update you on where college basketball is as of right now. We'll go through the Players Era numbers for the big games here in Las Vegas, that tournament. We also have the Maui Invitational, and we've got a couple hockey plays and hockey games to get to and to break down. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Sports by the Book.
If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse. where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry-aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone.
Keeping it rolling here on a Monday, Sports by the Book, live from the South Point Hotel and Casino. Remember to please jump in with our poll question. Let us know what you like for tonight's Monday night football game between the Panthers and the 49ers. Also, we have a ticker trivia going that is live. It is a good baseball trivia question. So if you know the answer, jump in the chat. We will reveal the correct answer at the end of the show. Let's keep it rolling here. We're going to go to the hardwood, look at some college basketball games as well as some on the ice. Ryan, how did trends go for basketball and hockey over the weekend?
So I wasn't able to actually finalize the college basketball numbers, so I'll just go through the NBA and then the NHL.
It's a lot of games. It's okay.
So the NBA favorites went 13-2 straight up over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. 9-6 against the spread. Totals were 6-9. Favorites yesterday, though, 8-0 straight up in the NBA. So we've got 10 NBA games today, 7 of which have home underdogs. Underdogs have not been good over the weekend. 13-2 straight up were favorites. So yeah. And then looking at the NHL, favorites went 7-11 straight up Saturday and Sunday. 9 puck lines were covered, but 7 of them were reverse. So the underdog ended up winning by 2 goals at least, getting an extra plus price there. And then the totals were also 7-11. So those were the professional recaps. But looking tonight at college basketball, we've got 9 games being played here in Las Vegas, one of which is already tipped off, and that would be Rutgers against Tennessee over in the MGM Grand Arena. The Players Air Tournament has 5 games going on today. Well, 9. 4 in Michelob, 5 in MGM. The next one to tip off will be in 40 minutes, Creighton versus Baylor. It is a 3-point line for the Baylor Bears here at South Point. The total is 154.
Looking, just comparing some numbers across the board, Ken Palm and then my dad's, it looks like there might be a little bit of value, but not a ton, grabbing 3 with Creighton, but both of them think that they could keep it close. Let me double check that I did read that Ken Palm correct, but total right there. That should be a good game between those two, really. 154. I think that number's right. Lean a little bit to the under. I think it'll be a defensive battle there. But yeah, there's one two I'm looking at down the board a little bit, but the next one up, Kansas is a little tempting. I think that number feels a little short for them, right? 5-point favorite.
Yeah, number 4, 24 team in the country, coming off of a kind of embarrassing loss at MGM or the Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
I happened to, granted, completely different teams, but I happened to see Notre Dame play against Alabama in the tournament last year at MGM. Notre Dame did not look good. So not sure if it's just a travel thing or whatever. But this one's a stay away from me. I would be looking at Kansas, but ultimately won't end up playing it.
I would be looking at Kansas too. I agree with you. I just don't think Notre Dame is there yet to this level, right? So 5 points really on a neutral. I think Kansas can cover that one. I do like that one. I didn't have anything in Iowa State and St. John's. 2 completely different styles of play, right? So I think those numbers are just right.
Okay. Then we got the number two-team in action taking on Syracuse. Both teams have yet to lose so far this season, but Houston is laying 15, and the total is 142 over at MGM.
15. That is a huge number there. Not a lot of a desire for me to take the points here with that dog, but I love betting Houston unders as well as Iowa State unders usually, but I think the Johnnies are really going to push that tempo. So I will be going with Kelvin Sampson's team, pushing the defense here, suffocating as they do. I'm going under 142 in that one with Houston and Syracuse.
Okay, that is the lowest of the totals here in Las Vegas on the hardwood. So we'll go to Auburn against Oregon, the number 22 Auburn Tigers, taking on the Oregon Ducks in Michelob Ultra over at Mandalay Bay. Auburn is a 4-point favorite. Total is 153.
I wonder if we think, it's so weird, Stephen Pearl's team here with Auburn, if they are deserving of being that big of a favorite, but Dana Altman's team has been a little bit disappointing with the high expectations. I like the over in this one, and the market kind of disagrees. I'm seeing 152.5 out there, so I like that number even better than that 153. But I like an under with Houston, and I like an over here with Auburn and Oregon to both try and push the pace. Auburn has been better on the defensive side, but I think Oregon's going to be able to put up some points. So over for me in that one.
All right, now we'll go to the game of the night. Number 13, the Gonzaga Bulldogs taking on the number 11 Alabama Crimson Tide in MGM Garden Arena. The Zags are laying 4.5. The total is 178. What do you think here?
It's funny comparing the numbers too, because Ken Palm has Gonzaga 87-83, and then Kenny White's numbers are right there too. He has Gonzaga 5, total 177. So really, everybody's in agreement here. This is probably a game that you can jump in game if you like either side. I think we're going to go and have some runs from both of these teams, right? I mean, we'll see a lead as big as 15 from one or the other, or maybe even both. So you can jump in and get some more points if you like either side. Do you have a feel on this game? It's weird seeing Alabama catching 4.5.
It is. It is weird, and getting to see them play last year in this same arena. Tend to think the shooter's eye, maybe they'll have a little bit of memory, but it is a different roster. So I'm just going to enjoy this game. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. You made the point that we might get a lot of runs, but I do think it'll ultimately end up being competitive. So I'm going to have to, might end up talking Tiff into going to that one. So
says a lot for Gonzaga, really. I mean, Ken Palm has them 3 right now. So, but I don't know. I mean, this is a tough game for these two.
Yep.
I think you got to look for points and as many as you can get, but I'm going to look for them on the Bama side. I know that they did just fall short, so we know that they can lose. They lost to Purdue by 7, and that was kind of the closest they were in that game. They had a tough time coming back, and Gonzaga kind of has a similar style. So if that tells you anything, maybe this is the type of team that gives them trouble. So, well, I'm with you. Enjoy it. Watch it. See if there's any in-game opportunity between those two.
All right, we'll go to the 7:30 p.m. tip over in Michelob. The number 7 Michigan Wolverines taking on the San Diego State Aztecs. The Michigan Wolverines laying 5.5, total 148.5.
Michigan, high expectations again this year, really good on the defensive side, but so is San Diego. It's both of their identities. Nobody's number really says this is an underplay, but that's a lean for me. I mean, I think the numbers are correct, but I think it's going to be a slow rock fight here between these two. So it's not definite. Don't have any numbers, more of just a feel and a lean to the under between those two.
And the final game of the night, tipping at MGM Grand Arena, is tipping at 9 p.m. and it's UNLV versus Maryland. So this is a midnight tip for Maryland. Maryland is a 2.5-point favorite. Total is 162.5.
Excellent point, Ryan. I mean, that definitely should give the Rebels a little bit of an advantage here. So, I mean, I think the number's right, but maybe could add that in and, make a case to play on UNLV here, taking 2.5. I also like the over. Maybe it's a UNLV team total over because they have been running. I mean, they put up 99 against St. Joseph's, 92 against Memphis in that big upset win, 93 in their loss to Montana when they gave up 102, and 101 in the game before that against Chattanooga. So they have scored at least 92 in 4 of 4 games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like that a lot.
So maybe looking for UNLV team total over.
Okay.
And kind of, Matt Never brought it up with another game last week, but they're not just throwing up the ball and shooting threes. Like they're getting to the basket. So a lot of field goals for them. Anything for you, Maui Invitational? You want to go through any of those numbers, or
Sure.
you want to jump to the ice?
Sure. We've got 4 games in Maui. Seton Hall against NC State. NC State's laying 9. Total is 142.5.
Total is, what is it right now?
Just moved to 142.5.
Wow. Okay. This number has been all over the place because it went up and now it's come back down. And I agree with the coming back down number. Yeah, it got as high as, or maybe it opened higher, 144.5.
Yeah, 144.5, jumped up to 146, and not necessarily steady. 144.5, 145.5, 145, then jumped to 143, and now to 142.5. So could have gotten at 146, now down to 142.5.
Wonder if that was a dummy move to get under that 146. I'm seeing this number move again. Now I'm seeing a 143.5 out there. Maybe just difference of opinions with some of the sharps that are giving out plays here. But I like the under between Seton Hall and NC State in that one. Kenny White's number is 139.5, NC State 10.5.
Okay. The one tipping at 2 is USC against Boise State. USC is laying 5.5. Total is 155.
All numbers. Well, I like the under a little bit in that one too. Looking at the numbers, open 150.5, bet up to 155.5. So that kind of keeps me off of it because, again, steam going the other way of what the numbers I have are.
Okay. And then Washington State and Chaminade is not on the board here. Washington State, massive favorite. Arizona State against Texas. Texas is laying 7. Total is 153.
Yep. All numbers right in that one. Texas should be 7.5. And I think the total's right. Correct as well. Fair number.
All right.
All right. Let's take a quick break so we can bring Chris Andrews in. We'll do a quick recap with him. At the end of the show, we will give out a couple hockey plays that Ryan and I are looking at, and then we'll get you out of here on a Monday. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Sports by the Book.
Heading to Las Vegas to catch the action at Allegiant Stadium? Skip the traffic and the sky-high room rates of the Strip. Book your stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. The South Point is located just 7 miles away from the stadium, and it's a quick trip up the freeway, making it an affordable rideshare or taxi ride. And don't worry about getting here when you land in Vegas. We offer a convenient airport shuttle to get your getaway off to a stress-free start. Shuttles are also available on Raider game days for a small fee. So whether you're rooting for your team or seeing your favorite band in concert at Allegiant Stadium, South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa is your ticket to all the excitement. Are you ready to lock in your bets and cash in on the games this weekend? Get weekly football winners from Alex White, Chris Andrews, and Vinny Malulo.
I did take the dog 3.5.
I'm going to stay with the Colts, Eric. That's definitely going to be one of my plays.
If the Bears have turned the corner, they have to take care of business in this game.
Yes.
Tune in for behind-the-book perspectives you won't find anywhere else.
Well, if you're looking to bet the under, you're going to get a better number.
The wise guys are certainly not going to play the favorites.
I know if it hits 7, don't blink. Maybe that's what bettors are waiting for.
Every NFL matchup, every college game that matters, the spreads, the stats, and the smart money plays.
It's your way to bet against both teams.
Get your winning edge with Football Frenzy, streaming on YouTube every Friday at noon Pacific.
Here we go. Welcome back in, everybody. Remember, we do have a poll question that is live. If you are joining us, please jump in the chat, hit that subscribe button so you can get in there. We also have a trivia question on the ticker. Chris Andrews, Sportsbook Director here at the South Point, joins us now to recap last week and to look ahead to this week. It's going to be a fun weekend.
Oh, man, yeah.
I mean, 3 big NFL games on Thursday, then, of course, rivalry week starting Black Friday. So always a good one.
And we got a pro game on Friday, too.
That's right.
So, I mean, Friday's always like the really busy day. Thanksgiving, you're really busy in the morning, and that kind of tails off. But Friday is going to be busy all day, and then you throw in a pro game as well, and a pretty good one, too. So we're going to have, what do we got? Bears and Eagles.
Ooh, yes.
Mr. McCormick's going to be watching that game rather intently. But that's a noon game on Friday.
Yep.
So we're it's just going to be busy all day Friday.
I'm sure he's wishing that the Cowboys wouldn't have pulled off that upset. He doesn't want the Eagles coming into that matchup against the Bears all angry.
Well, I didn't want the Bears to pull off. I wouldn't call it an upset, but the win. This was a good game. What can I tell you? But it was one. We had two of our biggest bet games fell right on the number. Bears and Steelers, KC and the Colts.
Yes.
And 3s on the parlay cards. So we have ties, win parlay cards. Very rarely do we put a half point on there. Usually it's all ties. Usually. I mean, I'm not, getting married to that idea. It might be half points occasionally. But I don't know that we've used one this year. I think it's been all whole points. And, those 2 3s did not help.
I mean, kind of fortunate just to have 2, right? On Football Frenzy, Ryan, didn't it feel like every other game was, we don't need the 3, it's been toggling, or it was 7s. We had a couple games like that, too.
Did any 7s fall?
1 7.
Well, the Lions, but that was not, they weren't 7-point favorites.
Right.
And I think we were clear on the 7s.
Yeah.
But, going into last night's game, that 7 would have really hurt. But, of course, by the time I walked in my house, I'm listening on the radio, but by the time, so I shut the car door, open the garage door, go inside, interception, pick 6.
14-0.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden at least we don't have to sweat this one too much. So, yeah. By the way, before we can move on, the Rams are now like 2 points, according to my ratings, 2 points better than anybody else in the NFL. I mean, that's a damn good team. And, I mean, they got a great quarterback, a great coach, and a great defense, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to take some beating to beat this team.
They are number 1 in mine as well.
Are they?
So we'll see.
Okay,
yeah.
good, yeah.
Ryan, anything else from NFL before we talk over some college that happened?
Well, I mean, I was kind of curious. We'd mentioned the Eagles, but that collapse, how we have a very large Cowboy fandom here in Las Vegas. Yeah. Was there a good pop when they eventually completed the comeback?
Yeah, and by the way, all those Cowboy fans showed up with money, too. So that was a very bad result for us. That was really bad. And, I'm like any other person, even though I've been doing this for a long time, just mentally, we got this one. Yeah, it's 21-0 Eagles. Got this one in our pocket. Not to be. Yeah, so that was bad. I mean, the other one, the Kansas City game, we wound up closing the game. I think we were at 4, but we could have easily gone to 4.5. And then the 3 hurt us on the parlay card, too. So that was a real bad result for us, too. And again, mentally, I'm thinking, we got this one looks pretty good. I got this one in our pocket. And I'll tell you, there's some cult concerns all of a sudden, and I think they're pretty legitimate. I think Daniel Jones, I'm going to have to look a little more closely, but between home and road, it seems to be quite a difference. And maybe it's close games versus blowouts. I'd have to look at that, again, a little more closely. But I think that's a legitimate concern. And as much as I like Shane Steichen, I think he was, certainly before this week, he would be my favorite to be coach of the year. But I don't think he called a good game offensively. I mean, I think they had to run the ball a little bit to chew up a little bit more time. And by the way, Malik Neighbors, did you see about his tweet? Wound up taking it out. But he's 100% right. And by the way, when they had that 4th down late in the game, they're up 3. Kick the field goal.
Yep.
Yes.
Kick the field goal. And I know they say, a touchdown would have beat you. Okay, but a field goal ties you. And of course, the defense played okay. I don't even want to say that because they wound up firing the guy. But, you would have had to give up a touchdown in order to lose. But if you surrender the tie, which they did, we know who the better team is. The longer they play, the more of a chance Detroit's going to win that game. So you don't want to extend that game. You don't want to give them the chance to extend that game. And, they did. And
okay, but this is pretty crazy because it happened in the very next window because Jacksonville did the exact same thing. They went for it on 4th down, didn't kick the field goal to make it 6, right? And then Arizona, Brissett got them down, forced overtime, but then Jacksonville ended up actually winning. So maybe because, like you said, they were the favorite, they're the better team, but I still thought that was going to hurt them too.
They're the better team maybe by this much.
Yeah.
Where we know who's better between Detroit and the Giants.
Right.
We know who the better team is. And by the way, Buffalo on Thursday night also left points on the board. And I can't remember the exact quarter. I think it was the 4th, but it may have been the 3rd. Where they didn't go for a field goal. They went, and later on they had a chance where a field goal would have won the game for them. Instead, they needed a touchdown. I think these analytics. I don't think it takes into account. I think I mentioned it on our Friday show. It's like a generic rule.
Right.
4th and 3, you'd go. Well, who's the opponent?
Right.
What's their defense like? Who's their quarterback? Can they lead them down? There's just so many variables involved that I don't think all these takes that into account. I don't think it does. Analytics certainly plays a part, but not 100%.
Pretty well. You just brought that up on Friday to start our football frenzy with Ryan, and you talked about them that they missed opportunities. Sometimes you need to take the points, and then it did happen in back-to-back games on Sunday.
All of a sudden, these coaches don't want to score points.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell's going on here,
Who was that? I don't know. There was another game where the announcers actually gave the coach credit and said, I like this. They're taking the points right here because it's early on. Give their team some confidence moving forward. Ryan, what was your overall thoughts about both of those with the Giants and then Jacksonville doing it right after?
The Giants, it's the 5th time this year they've blown a double-digit lead in the 4th quarter. It's sickening. And like one of my best friends is having to suffer through these losses. Like it's sad to watch. But then the Jags, I don't know. I was kind of higher on Liam Cohen to start this year, but kind of seeing how he is in the locker room, he just repeats himself. And I'm not in the locker room, but when I had coaches like that would just say the same things over and over again, I got fed up pretty quick. So I can only imagine how old things are getting for the Jags team. And talking about 3-0 on the West Coast, it's hard to win the league, Like, yes, we get it. Okay, can we say something else, please? So we had mentioned that the Cardinals were much more live than the public had anticipated going into the week because of how inflated things were for the Jags beating up on the Chargers. And then they still almost, granted, they didn't almost blow it against the Chargers, but they blew it against the Texans, almost blew it against the Cardinals here. I don't think I trust Liam Cohen anymore.
Yeah, when it comes down to the end there, right, those in the 4th quarters, those look a little scary. They need a big lead like they had against the Chargers. Well, I say that, and the Texans came back.
Yeah. But Ryan, you're right. This is where the coach earns his money, isn't that 4th quarter?
Yep.
And a lot of it is just making a lot of it's the right calls, but they're also like the obvious calls. Run the ball to chew up some time, kick a field goal if it puts you up over a field goal.
Right.
Certainly. I don't know. Especially in this league anymore. A 60-yard field goal is considered very makeable.
Yes.
Very makeable. So that you don't have to go that far to get to what, the 43 or whatever it is,
right,
to get within range of a 60-yard field goal. You don't have to go that far. I don't know. I think some of this analytics stuff has gone to their heads. You know, really.
Yeah. No, and it also, I mean, to your point, you have to take into consideration who you're playing, because you're kind of not giving your defense confidence. It was Jacoby Brissett, and you were worried they were going to beat you. They would go all the way down and score a touchdown, right? So you didn't take the extra 3 to force them to do that, where they got there pretty easy in field goal range.
Like I said, it's not that hard to get. Like I said, the 43 gives you a 60-yard field goal. Now, it's not like your odds on to make a 60-yarder, but it's definitely makeable in this era for whatever reason, whether it's the footballs these guys use or just, you know, the training methods have made their legs much more strong and accurate. You know, I don't know, you know, but the facts are the facts.
So let me ask you this. You brought up the Colts and maybe some concerns home and road, even though they do still look pretty legit. What do you think about the Chiefs now? Did the AFC, are they going to be kicking themselves? Is this an opportunity where now they're above 500 and can maybe make a run?
Oh, jeez. I said it on the show the other day. I'm just sick of the Chiefs. I mean, I don't hate them. I mean, Andy Reid, I like Andy Reid. I like Mahomes. He seems like a decent guy. I like Kelsey. You know, you know, a lot of the guys on the team I kind of like, but I'm just so tired of seeing them. But yeah, by the way, I told you the Rams are 2 points better than any team in my ratings. Kansas City's second.
Wow.
You know, and even though they're 6-5, you know, and what I think we may have talked about it on the show, I'm not sure, but other people have. You know, their numbers this year, scoring differential, points per game, all that kind of stuff, is better than last year.
I believe it.
It's better, you know, and last year they just won all those close games, blocked field goal against Denver. I mean, just some crazy stuff. And this year they're losing them. Now, I know, again, I always say that it tends to be like voodoo handicapping, that's saying, well, everything's going to even out over time. Well, it will over, but what's the time frame?
Right.
1 year, 2 years, 10 years, what is it? You know, but this is one of those things where it's kind of coming to fruition, where they lost, I want to say 5 close. Well, they lost 5 games. I'm not sure they were all real close, but they lost 5 games. Where last year they won all those. They all won all those one-score games, you know, and this year they're not. But now they came back, and everybody knows how dangerous it is. And I started looking. I wanted to look. You know, is it kind of a slam dunk that Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league? Is it a slam dunk? I started thinking, well, you know, I don't think he is. And then I started looking, well, maybe he is. And the only one that I would say is for this year would be Matthew Stafford.
Absolutely.
Matthew Stafford is lighting it up, boy. Let me tell you, that team's going to be tough to beat.
They are going to be tough to beat. And, I mean, you're taking all this talent, putting it together. I mean, look at Devontae Adams. He's having so much fun again.
I know.
He has been miserable. But Green Bay to Vegas to the Jets, right? And now he's like.
We kind of forget what a great talent and, you know, I mean, yeah, they utilize him, but they got so many other weapons, you know, but he's got to be happy. I mean, he knows he's right there, man.
Yeah, definitely. No, they're a tough team, as you mentioned, well coached, the whole organization, really good. So they're the favorites right now on the NFC. Still, of course, the Eagles very close behind them. It'd be interesting if anybody else can even really make a push. You've been talking about the Packers kind of being paper tigers.
Yeah.
Got a good win this weekend, but
I'm not sure we've heard the last of Seattle yet either.
I agree. I still am very high on Seattle.
Yeah, I'm very high on them. They kind of let that game slip away, but I mean, that was, you know, that's what we see in the NFL a lot, you know, but I mean, that doesn't show you. I didn't lower their power ratings after that game. I thought they dominated the game. They just kind of let it slip away at the end.
Yep.
Cut the cover, not the loss.
Right. Yes. A JSN, of course, is just ridiculous.
That kid's pretty darn good too.
Yeah.
He broke the Seahawks receiving record in week 13.
As a rookie.
Yeah. Or, well, week 12. Yeah. Second year. But just to kind of go back to the Chiefs, Drew Dog has the kind of playoff picture right now. The Chiefs are the 10 seed in the AFC, which obviously would not be in playoff position. But they go to Dallas. Then they host the Texans, which playoff atmosphere. They host the Chargers, playoff atmosphere. Then they get a gift in Tennessee. They host the Broncos. And then they end the year with a gift here in Las Vegas. So you have, I mean, Dallas is maybe a little more competitive now the last 2 weeks, but you have your 3 most important games for the AFC playoff picture, all in Arrowhead, and then the 2 road games, or I guess 3 road games, Cowboys, Titans, Raiders. The Chiefs might win out.
I can see them running the table. It won't be easy. And then this week's game, already getting a lot of two-way action on this game. Laying 3, taking 3.5. Another, I'll be eating the turkey and trying to avoid the 3 in that game. I'm not sure who we're going to need. I kind of like Kansas City, to tell you the truth. I know Green Bay or Dallas played great yesterday, particularly on defense. I thought their defense maybe coming together a little bit. But I still have big questions about them, and I don't like the game Sirianni called either. We talked about it. And another guy, I think he's a terrific coach, but I don't think he had a good offensive game plan that second half. I mean, how many 3-and-outs did they have, and weren't running. They showed Saquon Barkley's runs yesterday. I mean, he had like 1 run of 7 or 8 yards.
Right.
Other than that, you're looking at 2-3 yards of carry. That offensive line is not what it was. And Lane Johnson, of course, missing.
Yep.
And I don't know what his status is for the rest of the year. But that Liz Frank injury that he has, those things tend to linger. I mean, you look at, going back a generation. What's his name? Odom from Ohio State was drafted and had that Liz Frank and cost him his career pretty much. It was him and Kevin Durant. He got drafted in front of Kevin Durant, and nobody thought that was crazy, but he got that Liz Frank, and he, kind of hurt his whole career, but those injuries can last a long time. From what I'm reading, they expect him back at some point, but they need him back. Let me tell you.
I thought you had to get surgery if you had a Liz Frank, but
well, it depends.
Not, and have to
now, Ryan, correct me if I'm you guys might know better than me. I think Lane Johnson's a right tackle.
Yes.
Is that correct? So the right tackle is more integral to your running game. The left tackle protects the quarterback's blind side, so it's more integral to your passing game. But that right tackle, that's your running game. Now, when I was growing up as a kid, where it was run the ball first, your right tackle, that was the good tackle. And it's changed over the last probably 20 years or so. But, that right tackle, that's the key to your running game. And you could see missing him, how much that's meant to Saquon Barkley.
But we know with Saquon Barkley, last year they just continued to give him the ball, and he'd break through finally, right?
Yeah.
It seems like they are still in a little bit of a funk. They don't know what they want to do. If they want to get A.J. Brown involved more, make him happy, or stick to their run game. So I kind of agree with you. I hate to say, because I think that's a real good team. I don't know. Is it a generational team? I think it's borderline. Because I've always spoke really highly of Jalen Hurts. I think he's just a terrific quarterback. Numbers don't always reflect it, except in wins. The guy knows how to win. And again, I'm repeating myself, but when he left from Alabama and went to Oklahoma, he was there a week and they made him a captain. Oklahoma. Yeah. Pretty damn good school. Yeah. So it's not like he went to some little, William and Mary or something like that. He went to Oklahoma. He was there a week. So that guy has leadership skills. And like I said, if you want to win football games, there's not too many better than him. Well, when you got a locker room full of a bunch of goofballs, when you have somebody with an old soul like that, I can understand it, right?
I'm thinking that might be the case. Yeah. Yeah.
But 2 Super Bowl appearances in 3 years, right, for this Eagles team. And then that middle one, they were like 10-1, and then just kind of collapsed.
They did collapse that time.
So when you're talking...
Yeah. And the one that he lost, the Super Bowl he lost, he easily could have been the MVP in that game, too.
Right,
Even though they lost. Yeah.
And that was the big doubt, right? But that was Patrick Mahomes' ankle issue, and then he looked fine on the field then. But we'll see. We'll see with those two who can turn it around, who can figure it out. I do want to switch over. Well, first let's ask about tonight's game.
Yeah, okay.
It looks like we talked about it Friday. All the action still on the Niners. Are you getting some buyback here on the Panthers?
We're starting to get some buyback. Matter of fact, just before I left, one of my sharpest players, and I didn't move the number because he's not a huge player, but I've known this guy for a long time. I'm not going to mention his name. He's a very successful businessman and very successful betting-wise. He took the 7.5, and when he bet it, I said, well, I guess we got a shot here because he doesn't lose too often.
Is this one of the ones that you gave out?
No.
Okay. But you did lean to the Niners side.
I think I made the game 8 when I was making my numbers, so that wasn't quite enough for me to play. But yeah, I kind of like the Niners. I think it's, again, we talk about organizations and all that other stuff. I mean, that's one hell of an organization that they got, and they brought back Purdy. And I think, as good as mac and cheese played all year,
Yeah.
I think having Purdy back, I think he's an underrated quarterback. And still, just a lot has to do with his draft position, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, another guy just produces out on the field.
I'm with you. I made about 9, so I really don't think there's value laying a big number like this. And,
I'm hoping I'm wrong.
and the Panthers can keep it close, but they're looking up at the Seahawks and the Rams. So pretty important for them, but also for the Panthers. They're trying to take the lead of that division.
They're 1 game back, I believe. Is that what it is? Or half a game, maybe?
Yep.
What is it, Ryan?
If they end up winning tonight, I do think that they will have one extra win.
I think so too.
Yeah, no, they've had a good year. Yeah.
Going over to college,
If they manage to win
unless
tonight.
Ryan has any last NFL notes before.
No, just if the Panthers do end up pulling off the upset tonight, they will be first place in the NFC South.
Wow.
That is
Okay.
something.
Who saw that coming?
No, exactly. I mean, people had the Falcons potentially, but.
By the way, if
big
I ever
win.
get a Falcons game right, I might just retire right on the spot. I haven't been right on them in 2 years.
I think it's the SBTB curse. It's been 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
For all of us at the desk. So
Yeah.
that's why I barely even
sign me
touch
up. I'm right
Falcons.
in there too.
I
Yeah.
barely touch the Falcons games now, but we didn't say, Ryan and I talked about it off air. We were talking about Kirk Cousins. It's either going to be like, why has this guy been sitting on the bench? Or Kirk Cousins, please hang it up.
Yeah.
It looked like he did pretty well there.
He did yesterday.
Yeah.
We needed New Orleans. I mean, like I said, if I ever get it right, we had some weird games. Yeah, everybody, a lot of dogs covered.
Yep. Big
But,
dogs.
they, like a lot of the dogs that covered, got bet on, I mean, it's a weird day. It was not a good day for us. It was not a good. But let me, again, put things in perspective. We've had a hell of a week.
And as far as I know, from a lot of people that are in contest and handicap and are very into college football, it was an awful day for us bettors on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining Saturday was pretty good for you guys.
Saturday was really good.
For the Buck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a whole lot to recap because, as we know, a bunch of teams in the top 12 right now, the projected college football playoffs played some cupcake teams, so we don't really have to go over those.
Yeah.
Playoffs shouldn't move a whole lot. Looking at tomorrow's, their whole TV show. Oregon, though, takes care of business against USC. Overall
was a
thoughts
big
on
one.
that one?
Yeah. And they look good.
Yeah.
I forget what the final score was, but they kind of dominated that game.
42-27.
Yeah, I mean, it really, I guess that was indicative. I mean, SC had one of the great plays, that option pass, in the side, on the corner of the end zone, that was one of the great plays of the year. It really was, in a losing effort.
Yeah.
But I think Oregon, very legit team. They had that one loss to Indiana at home, which I think hurt their standing. But they got a big game this week against Washington, at Washington. And that's a fierce rivalry. And again, Washington, they're up in the corner there. That's a tough place to go play. There are a lot of passionate fans up in Seattle.
I think that is going to be a little tougher than people anticipate.
Yeah, what do we got? I think I opened at 6 or 6.5.
I think it 6.5.
I think I opened 6.5, but I made the number 6.
Okay, so you don't even really have a side for that one yet.
No, not yet.
But how
See what
about
happens.
Oregon? I want to ask you, Chris, because it was 14-14, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and then a punt return.
Oh, man, I can't
So
remember.
that's when I kind of was like, dang, special teams is bigger than you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they say 3 phases of the game, right?
Right.
But that one came in big because then they scored again, and then it was 28-14. And then it
Yeah.
felt like they kind of put it away.
Yeah, the thing about special teams is we take a lot of them for granted.
Yeah.
They're going to make the 40-yard field goal. They're going to punt. It's probably a fair catch and blah, blah, blah. You're going to kick off and maybe get it out to the 20, the 25. But the thing is, when there's a big special teams play, it's big. It's really big and can easily turn a game around very easily.
Well, and I think that's where South Carolina, we know they're one of the best, and Beamer really takes pride in that.
Yeah, always, yeah.
And sometimes they can really turn a game.
They got a
with
big
that.
game this week.
They do have a big game this
Clemson.
week, yeah. You have a lean right now?
I think I made it 2. I think we opened at 2, so it's kind of right there for me.
Okay, but you're kind of setting me up because I do want to ask you. But at first, any thoughts? Oklahoma looks like they're kind of in the driver's seat right now to
Yeah.
actually make the playoffs. Big win for them, 17-6, dead under game if you had that. And then Vandy, impressive win. I liked Vandy, used them on one, but
I did too.
not
yeah.
my main card. Impressive win over Kentucky. So they're trying to get a seat at the table as well for the 12-team playoffs.
You know, I think their history may hurt them just in the eyes of the committee. By the way, the committee is going to have a potential nightmare
They
on
are.
their hands.
A lot of two-loss teams.
There's a lot of teams, you know, and by the way, what's Oklahoma's number this week?
They are 10.
What's the number? What game number?
384.
384. I mean, that's a game. I made that quite a bit higher. You know, I mean, Nussmeier is questionable.
Yep.
You know, I think if he does play, he won't be 100%.
Gotta imagine that's why they kept him out this past week, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I didn't even know that was a possibility.
No, I thought so. Yeah.
Okay.
And they did not play well. I don't like the way this team's playing. Of course, you know, Kelly got fired, but I like the way Oklahoma's playing.
Yeah.
That's one of my early leans. I like the favorite in that game quite a bit.
They are playing really well. John Mateer doing
Yeah.
enough, but that defense has looked really good.
Yeah.
I was impressed with how they handled Missouri's run game. So I think.
Yeah, that was another big game for us. We a lot of money showed for a ton of money showed for Missouri.
Well, once it was announced that Prabula was playing,
Yeah.
it was. I'm
I think
sure.
we closed that game 4, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that sounds right. Then Vandy, where are they right now in your power ratings? Do you have? Are they top 15 now?
I'd have to look to see top whatever. What's a game number right there? Do you have that handy by any chance? I know they're playing Tennessee this week.
It is 347, 348 playing
Yeah,
Tennessee.
I'm looking. They're definitely top 15.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. I'm sure if I have many higher than that. I mean, they are good. They produce. You know,
Yeah.
but you know, maybe I'm a little biased too from their past. You know, but I had them this last week, and that was an easy win against Kentucky. Really, they controlled that game from start to finish.
Ole Miss was not in your top 10 last week.
No. And well, they had a bye, so I'm not sure if they're going to. The only way they get in is somebody else falls down. But they got a tough game on Friday against Miss State. My numbers actually like Mississippi a little bit, but my numbers like Mississippi. I'm not sure I like Mississippi.
I want to ask you about that because I'm kind of in the same boat right now where I'm leaning to a lot of favorites. I don't want to play a lot of favorites on rivalry week.
Yeah.
So is it really diving into it? And
Well, let me tell you, like, this is back when I had my own website. So I'm talking like, 10, 12 years ago, something like that. I did a study. Well, I had a lot of free time. Actually not. My wife always kidded me. I worked harder when I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
But I did a deep dive I went back 10 years back on rivalry games, legitimate rivalry games. It's just about 50-50. Now, I didn't have accurate records to judge money lines, but point spread wise, I mean, it's just about 50-50. So don't let that influence. I don't want to bet a favorite in a rivalry game. They show up just as much as they do on, week 4 in September.
Right.
So if you like the side, you could do that.
Stick with the process.
Stick with the process, yeah, because, there are a lot of those games. Sometimes, maybe, the rival, the underdog is down in the fourth quarter and they say, I can't believe we're going to lose again to this team, and they kind of throw in the towel. So there's a lot of, there's more emotional aspects to it that I think as handicappers and even as bookmakers we put into it that maybe don't belong there.
Very good. That's a good point. I like that. Some good ones. Do you know what you made your Ohio State, Michigan?
Made that a little higher too. What's that? That's going Saturday.
It's
I made it 13. And again we're going to open 10.
But that one's tricky because the total's 44.5.
Yeah, that's another one. My numbers come to that, and Ohio State is my number 1 team.
Yep.
But this is, and again, I don't want to go data mining because sometimes we tend to do that when we look at these rivalry games. But they have a tough time with Michigan, and this is a Michigan team that I thought played better as the course of the year went on. So my numbers 13, but I can't beef with the 10. I think that's okay.
Yeah, I have to agree with that definitely, and of course have had their number the last few years. But it's Ohio State team. I'm with you. I'm like you were talking about the Rams being a couple points higher than the next. That's how Ohio State is for me.
Yeah, I mean, next number 2 team is, I would have to look. It's either Texas Tech or Indiana. Yeah, I have them both the same rating.
Yeah.
I got Ohio State 5 points better than them.
Me too.
I mean, that's this team. They got a lot of talent. I've talked about it on the show. They know how to win games, and that we talked about maybe Sirianni didn't call a good game, and I forget who else. Steichen didn't call a good game with the lead. This guy knows how to get a lead and protect it. I've seen that. He knows how to protect the lead.
So that's what Michigan will be looking to do, is to
you're
jump
not going to win
ahead,
every
'cause
game.
That's what they did last year.
Yeah, but if I mean, he might get behind. The game takes on a life of its own. But I know if he has a lead, he knows how to win that game.
Chris, anything else from you looking ahead for this week? Anything else jump out to you already that you like?
Oh my God, we I'm looking at the games. I mean, Texas and Texas A&M. I am so looking forward to that game. For a long time, that was the Thursday night game until the NFL decided to start having their own Thursday night game. So and then of course A&M and Texas didn't play for a couple of years, so we kind of lost out on that.
I'm worried for A&M. I don't know why. I mean,
that's I made the number 3. We opened at 2.5. Again, I think that's going to be a tough game one way or the other. Vanderbilt and Tennessee. I mean, that's another rivalry game, but I think means a lot this year. Like Tennessee would really like to knock, because they're not going to make the playoff.
Right.
But they know Vandy has a chance, and they'd love to just stop them right in their tracks. That's another big. Clemson and South Carolina. That's a little bit under the radar. Kind of like South Carolina a little bit there. We mentioned Ohio State and Michigan. That's probably the best rivalry, maybe in sports. Period. Maybe in sports. I mean, because those teams really despise each other. The whole states do. Alabama and Auburn, that's another big one. There's been some great matchups there. But we got some great games. It'll be a fantastic weekend. One that's lost its luster, but when I was a kid, this was probably the biggest game of the week. UCLA and USC. And I go way back, long before you were born, young lady. Gary Beeman played for UCLA and won the Heisman Trophy, and some great rivalries there, and the best uniform game in all of sports.
They were.
Yeah, USC and UCLA.
Wow.
Best uniform game in all of sports.
I love it. I'll have to go back and look at that. You reminded me, because thinking about all these rivalry games, and I brought up earlier, win and in. So Ohio State has to take care of business. Indiana has to take care of business against Purdue, and they'll be in the Big Ten title game. It's like that for every conference. Nobody is already set into a spot besides James Madison in the Sun Belt because they still have divisions. So they won one side of the conference in one division. Do you remember a time like this? It's pretty crazy where not one team is already penciled into their championship game.
I'd have to think about it. Of course, it's a whole new dynamic with the playoff system the way it is.
Yeah.
So I'd have to think about it. But I mean, there's probably been some years, but just not as attention grabbing as it is nowadays.
Of course, A&M needs to take care of business. Alabama needs to take care of business, and those two will be the matchup for the SEC. Georgia can't help themselves because they're not playing a conference game.
Right.
That's going to be an interesting one. We saw 9 overtimes last year with them and Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So,
that's another one. I mean, I think my numbers come a little higher than what the actual game number is, but I know Georgia Tech, I don't know what happened last week against Pitt. They just kind of fell apart early and never got back into it. But I still think that's kind of a dangerous team. I think Texas Tech, they're a big favorite this week, but they got to take care of business.
They have to take care of business. And BYU.
And BYU, and again, Utah, who wound up winning that game last week.
Ooh.
But, we've talked about it. I think that's a really, really good team. I'm going to count that game as a clunker. So that's 3 clunkers they've had. We only have 11 games.
Yeah.
3 clunkers is bad.
Definitely.
So, I mean, it's hard to have a lot of confidence in them. But I know if Utah's playing their best football, and I think I said it on the show the other day, other than Ohio State, I mean, they could beat anybody in college football. But they throw in some games that you just scratch your head and say, what the hell are they doing? And they pulled that one out the other day, but they probably shouldn't have.
No, they were definitely fortunate to get that win over Kansas State. We did talk about liking Utah, but being a little bit
I'm
nervous
glad I stayed off of that one.
with K-State, and they were hungry, definitely. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited. We'll see what happens here. I do want to just bring up, too, in case I forget as the week goes on, but Auburn has played 2 new quarterbacks. We have not seen Jackson Arnold since they fired Hugh Freeze. So it'll be very interesting to see what they decide to do.
Yeah, I kind of like Bama in this game.
I do, too. I'm just a little nervous
the numbers
about that.
A little short, yeah.
The last quarterback we just saw this weekend was a running quarterback. Used his legs a lot, so they might try and throw everything at Bama to keep them out of the SEC championship game.
Of course, you remember the kick 6? You were around for that one? Bama tried a long field goal. And you should have been around for that one. The long field goal. Auburn, it didn't make the goalpost. So Auburn fielded the kick, ran it back for a touchdown to win the game. I mean, I needed Auburn that day, too. It was a great result for us.
It's a tough rivalry here. You never know.
Great
Ryan's
call,
laughing.
too.
He knows.
You know that?
Yeah.
And if you find the call on YouTube, it's a great call by the Auburn announcer.
Oh,
too.
my God. Auburn's going to win the football
Auburn's
game.
going to win the football game, which we know. How many times have you seen a kick 6? Maybe once. That might be it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll go back and watch that for sure. But we're looking forward to it. It's going to be tough. We got to take you and Vinny away for 2 hours on Friday. You guys are going to be very busy, but we do have Football Frenzy Friday.
Yeah.
Might have to move that show up. We'll talk about it.
Might have to
Let's talk about
maneuver
that.
around. Okay.
Yeah, we might have to talk about that. Yeah.
Stick with us. We'll let you guys know tomorrow if there are any changes for the Football Frenzy on Friday. Of course, no show on Thursday because you guys will be working here. Everyone's going to enjoy their Thanksgiving, and then hopefully everyone has a great weekend in the football world. How about basketball? Are you guys getting bet pretty good with all these tournaments?
Did you see the tournament games today?
Yes.
Fortunately, they're probably listening. Alexis and Ashley were there to take care of everything this morning. So I know they were swamped. And I was on the phone with Ashley, I think about 6 o'clock in the morning. She was already swamped.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's been.
Well, when you have a tournament here, too, I'm sure you're getting even more action.
Yeah, there's just action everywhere.
Really good games right now.
A lot of
college
great
basketball,
games. Yeah,
so
a lot of great games.
some we need to pay attention to get ready as we're getting closer to conference play for that sport. But do you want to know the trivia question?
Sure.
It's a baseball one today.
Okay.
Ryan, you want to, can you read it off to us? And anybody who hasn't jumped in yet
Sure, yeah.
can try and jump in.
So on this date in sports history, baseball history, November 24th, 1982, Cal Ripken, the Iron Man, received AL Rookie of the Year honors. Throughout his career, how many total MLB All-Star appearances did Cal Ripken earn?
Well, I'd just be making a guess. Can I make a guess?
Of course.
14.
Higher.
Higher. 17.
19.
Jeez, man.
Very
In
close, though.
21 seasons, 19 All-Star appearances from 1981 to 2001. He is fourth all-time most All-Star appearances. Hank Aaron, 21. Willie Mays and Stan Musial both had 20.
Wow.
And then the Iron Man had 19.
Okay, quick Cal Ripken. You know, he was at third base the last couple of years of his career, rather than shortstop. And then when he played in his last All-Star game, and A-Rod was the shortstop. He and A-Rod switched, and they didn't tell Cal until the first inning, And I remember Cal afterwards saying, man, I was a little nervous playing. I hadn't played shortstop for a long time. He says, but after like the first pitch, I'm there. Come on, hit one to me. And they didn't. And another quick Cal Ripken, and I can't remember the year. You could probably find it. He had one of the outfield. There was a hit to the wall. Cal was the cutoff man. They hit Cal. He made a perfect throw to home plate to nail the runner. And again, I don't know what year it was, but just a great athletic play. Just to make the catch, to make the turn, and make that throw. It's just a fantastic play by Cal Ripken.
19 MLB All-Star appearances. That is pretty
He's
wild.
another one of those guys when I was, when I had my kids when they were young, I made sure we went to the ballpark so you could see Cal Ripken play. You need to see Cal Ripken.
Yeah.
The other one that I made sure was Nolan Ryan.
Very good.
So, two pretty good guys.
Yeah, I'd say. All right, Chris. Well, thank you so much. We'll chat, figure out our exact time for Friday, but there will be a football frenzy, just so everybody does know.
Do you guys want to come up to the office afterwards?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yes.
So, okay.
Thank you for recap and the look ahead.
Okay.
Ryan, you want to keep it moving, or you want to take a break before do you want to go through some hockey?
Yeah, well, we can just go straight to hockey. We've got 7 games on the ice today. How many do you have plays in?
Well, that first game's very interesting. We were kind of talking about this one where the Capitals' 4th game in 6 nights, but you had an interesting note on Columbus on the other side.
Yeah, Columbus, in their last 8 games, they've gone to overtime in 6 of them and gone to a shootout in 3 of those. So essentially 2 extra games of, well, I guess it's a 5-minute hockey period, but I guess an extra full game. Just a lot of hockey recently for Columbus. And then you had the note that the Capitals have played 4 in 6 nights. So
that kind of cancels each other out, right? Because I saw that 4 and 6, thinking the Capitals might be a little tired, but I mean, I do think they are the right side. $1.60 is a pretty big price, but I think that is correct. But no play for me. 6.5 is. Let me double check mine. I've got 6. I do think that is a very high total for these two. So there's one right there under that 6.5.
I do like the Caps in that game. They had 2 offensive explosions in the 2 games prior to their last one.
Yes.
The last one they lost to the Lightning 5-3. They scored first, then allowed a shorthanded goal, a power play goal, and then 2 even strength goals in the first period. So they were down 4-1 to the Lightning in the first period. Ultimately ended up losing 5-3. I think being back, well, they were back home in that game, but I think kind of righting the ship, the Caps take care of business tonight against Columbus.
I agree. And if you haven't been paying attention, the Lightning are playing really good hockey right now. So I think you're right. They kind of just fell in a hole and almost threw the towel in for that one. So it would be that side for me as well.
Okay. You were looking at...
There are some 6s out for the next one, but that kind of worries me. I think the 5.5 is the correct number. I do not fault people for betting over with the Lightning and the Flyers. So I'm going to pass on that one. I don't know if you had anything in that one.
I didn't. The Lightning -175, Flyers getting 155 on the buyback. And then, the 6 is the total with juice to the under. But moving to New York, Madison Square Garden, the Blues taking on the Rangers. Rangers -140 at home, +120 on the buyback. 5.5 is the total with juice to the under.
I wanted to double check the Blues last 10 games. Okay. Just 4, 2, and 4. So they've had a lot of overtime as well. Rangers 4 and 6. My number is even a little higher on the Rangers, but they've lost 4 in a row and the wheels have kind of fallen off, right? They had this crazy home and road split. They were so good away from Madison Square Garden and losing all their games there. And now they've lost a lot of road games. And it feels like we're seeing the real Rangers team. So just where these two currently, their states, how they are playing, I kind of like the Blues catching a plus price. But it is definitely against my number. I like the under as well. I do think it'll be a lower scoring game. At 5.5, juice to the under, I know, but I think that's correct too, going under that total.
The one thing that I would caution, it also applies with Columbus. Columbus is in the last game of a road trip. They haven't been home in a week, and the Blues still have one more game in New Jersey on Wednesday as part of a 5-game road trip. So Blues in the middle of a road trip, the Rangers going back home. I would be looking at the Rangers, but got a little two-way action.
It would. But that is a good point because the Rangers,
Two-way action,
I'm sure, is a tougher game they're looking at for their last on this road trip.
All right, and then we got the Wings taking on the Devils. Devils -135 at home. Again, only one loss at home in the Prudential Center. Total is at 6 with another juice to the under.
I think the Devils at home is the right side here. This should be a great game. Red Wings 13-8-1 overall. Devils 13-7-1 overall on the year. I mean, both teams playing really good. I think the Devils should be the favorite, and I made them even a little bit higher because this is pretty much just saying that they are even, but I have the Devils as a better team than the Red Wings. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'll take a shot here.
It does look like it'll be Markstrom in net for the Devils. He has a .864 save percentage, so going against probable Cam Talbot, who is 9-2 on the year with a almost 9.9 save percentage. So might not get a whole lot of goals there.
You're right. Markstrom really hasn't been their best goalie this year, but that is a big difference. Talbot 266, pretty good there.
All right, we got 3 more. Florida in Nashville taking on the Predators. They are a road favorite. The Panthers are plus 115 for the Preds. Total is 6 with juice to the under. The Predators are coming off a shutout loss at home to the Avalanche.
And I don't think this is the best spot for them here, even though we won't have Bobrovsky in net. I still think Florida's the right side, and that's a pretty cheap price. I mean, Nashville's still 32nd in goals per game, and they're 27th in goals against. I thought maybe this year all those pieces would have started to really mesh and they'd be playing better, but we haven't seen it yet. So Florida or pass for me.
Could I talk you into a plus 180 puck line there, or not so much?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
I mean, Florida's tough. I feel like they either lose the game or they win by multiple, right? They're in a tight game and fall short or come out hot.
Are able to cover. All right, we'll go to LA here. The Senators getting plus 125. Kings land minus 145. 5.5 is the total with 125 to the under.
I've got a little bit on the Kings, but they've lost 3 in a row now coming into this one. Lost 2 at home on the other side. The Senators have won 3 road games coming into this one. And they've won 2 in a row coming in. So I'm going to stay off. I'm going to add that into my number. Say it's probably right. Actually, adding that in gives me a play on the other side with Ottawa at plus 120 because I have it 127. It's up to 140. And there's some under trends from both of these teams. 4 straight unders in road games for the Senators. 3 straight coming into this one. So lean to the under, but I think I'm going to take the Sens plus 120 here.
Okay. And getting plus 125 here at the South Point.
Plus 125, okay.
Even better. And then, the Kings have been outstanding to the under. They play a lot more defense than attacking on offense. So I would like that under with you as well. Yeah. The final game on the ice tonight, the Golden Knights are in Utah taking on the Mammoth. They are a slight road favorite, minus 115 here at the South Point. Total is 6 with 115 to the under.
I think the fact that Vegas just beat them in Utah 2 games ago, right? Because they went Anaheim back to Utah. I think that's been added in and why you're seeing such a cheap price. But, I mean, my number would be 123, real number, Vegas on the road. But I'm not going to play it. Anything you're seeing jump out in this one?
I do like the Knights tonight. Just kind of looking at Utah's recent games. Yes, they beat the Rangers at home 3-2 on Saturday, but then they lost, you just mentioned, to the Knights 4-1, and then 3 straight games prior to that, 3-2 overtime losses to the Sharks, the Ducks, and the Islanders. So we might, maybe the guys get some confidence and are going to put up some fight, but I would think that the Knights are going to recognize that they need to win this game and come out with kind of the same fire that they did on Thursday, and they take care of business tonight.
I think it's a cheap price, minus 115 on the Knights. I think that's the right side. All right, let's check out our poll, see what people like for the game tonight, and then we'll get you out of here with some plays for Monday Night Football and on the ice, and some college basketball too. I got to add those in as well, but. What does all of our listeners like for tonight in the Monday Night Football game? Yeah,
so touchdowns before turkey. Which touchdown prop are you going with for tonight's Panthers versus 49ers matchup? All odds via the South Point Hotel and Casino here in Las Vegas. The total touchdowns by the Panthers, over 2.5, getting plus 140. Total touchdowns by the Niners, over 3.5, getting plus 105. Shortest touchdown scored in the game, over 1.5 yards, so at least 2-yard touchdown, plus 125, or the Panthers to score first in the game and getting plus 130. And the chat is ready for Niner touchdowns. 50% of the vote going with at least 4 49ers touchdowns tonight. plus 105 here at the South Point.
Okay. Well, that's the side we were leaning to for the actual outcome of the game.
Yeah.
So I can't blame anybody for that one. I've got 2 more games I want to write on my whiteboard. Do you have your plays you want to go through?
Yeah, I'll just summarize them. So I've got George Kittle over his 56.5 receiving yards. I will take the Brock Purdy over his touchdown passes, getting minus 165 here at the South Point. I will be taking the Washington Capitals to defeat the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Golden Knights to defeat the Utah Mammoth.
Perfect. Love it. Okay, I've got 4. And let me make sure this Houston number, that's NBA, so we're not going to get quite that high. We're going 142.5. And it's the 24th. Here we go. All right, so 2 hockey and 2 college basketball for Players Era with Auburn, Oregon over 152.5. I'm going under in the Houston game, of course, under 142.5. And then 2 hockey. I know sometimes it can be worrisome with the Capitals because they can score in bunches, but I'm going under 6.5 between them and the Blue Jackets. And then I'm going to take a piece of the Ottawa Senators at plus 125. I like how this team is playing again. It was hot, got a little cold, but I think they are getting hot again at the right time. So there are my plays. Might jump in a little bit of Panthers to score first. Did you say that officially, Ryan, or no? No, you're going.
Yeah, just player props for tonight's Monday Night Football.
Okay. Well, that's it for us. Tomorrow, we will give my top 10 in college football. Let's also dive into some rivalry games and what each team needs. We can look at conferences, win and get in, those scenarios tomorrow. Sure. We'll talk more college basketball, more hockey, as always, like we do on Sports by the Book. Wednesday, we'll be back, and we are jam-packed. We've got a few people visiting us on Wednesday, a few guests on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got Bruce Marshall, as always, on Wednesdays, giving us college football plays, and he has done pretty well in the NFL as well. And then we will also have Spencer McLaughlin, play-by-play voice of the Southern Utah Thunderbirds, as well as podcast host for Locked On Ducks, Locked On Big Ten, talking all college football, college basketball. And Spencer can talk everything. So very excited for Wednesday.
Very good. I'm excited too. So we'll do a lot of Big Ten, maybe Big 12 with him. So tomorrow we'll go more SEC and ACC. But and Mountain West. We got to talk about Mountain West because a lot happening there as well. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Remember, no show on Thursday, 2-hour Football Frenzy on Friday. We'll have an announcement about that shortly. We appreciate you all. Thank you to the crew. Thank you to Vince for getting our poll and our trivia out there. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in and joining us. So it's Thanksgiving week. I'm just going to say thank you a lot this week. But we'll be back tomorrow. Sorry, we went a little bit long. For Ryan McCormick, I'm Alex White. You're watching Sports by the Book, as you always do 5 days a week here. We'll see you again tomorrow, 10 a.m. here. Cash some tickets. Best of luck. We'll be back tomorrow for Sports by the Book.